I don't know how much value I have in this universe, but I do know that I made a few people happier than they would have been without me. And as long as I know that, I'm as rich as I ever need to be.
Hey kid, what time is that?
It's time to refresh.
Back once again with another podcast. This is episode 55 of the It's Time to Refresh podcast. On this episode, we've got some clubland royalty, Mr. Ian Vandal.
Hiya.
Kristoff, as his friends call him.
Yes. Pissed off Kristoff.
But yeah, I mean, if you don't know who he is, you live under a rock, I suppose, because we've got many clubland anthems, you will call them. Okay. I don't think he likes all these compliments.
Yeah. I'm blushing.
But yeah, so this is a bucket list episode, I'd say, because this is probably you're probably one of the biggest clubland artists there is, really. Would you say, over the years?
I wouldn't say that about myself, so I'm not gonna say anything.
Right, I'm
just happy. To be honest, I like the whole clubland scene. It was a good era.
Yeah.
It was good music, tunes that people still love, and it's happy. I'm happy to be part of it and still be able to do it. So that's actually the only thing I'm happy about. So
yeah, I get exactly where you're coming from. But yeah, we're live in the Premier Inn in Carlisle today. Yeah, we are going to plug that one. I just want to start off.
This is the sofa.
Yeah.
So if I have my MC with me, I'll put him here. Jeannie, this is your bed.
Yeah. So start off with as I do with every podcast. What did you have for tea last night?
Tea. That's food.
Mm-hmm.
Well, to be honest, it was horrible. I was at Botland's in Minehead.
Yeah.
And you have a couple of restaurants, and we took the buffet restaurant. So it was like we were happy there was all kinds of dishes.
Yeah.
But they were all crap.
Give us examples.
Huh?
Give examples of what there was there.
Well, there was like a baked potato.
Yeah.
But
Yeah,
you know,
I know what you mean.
the skin has to be crispy and all that.
Yeah.
But it wasn't. And then there was like a tikka, Indian dish, jalfrezi.
Yeah.
But it wasn't even spicy. So it was a UK jalfrezi, it wasn't an Indian jalfrezi, and yeah, stuff like that. So I'm hoping after the interview you can go to the restaurant and have proper food. in
Yeah, it'd be
Carlisle,
decent,
so,
I think, yeah. Carlisle's finest cuisine, local
Yes.
cuisine. No, excellent, mate. I can't remember what I had for tea last night, so I'm not even going to try and remember.
Okay.
So, yeah, basically got you on here today. I don't think... Have you ever, talked about your story on a online or anything? Because, obviously, I do my research, being the great documentation I am, and I can't find anything online of you telling your story.
Very limited.
Very limited.
Yeah.
So,
I think one is in Dutch or something, so you probably wouldn't have found
yeah,
it. So
I'm not paying for someone to translate that. Sorry, but yeah. So you're from Belgium, but
Yes.
if it's in Dutch, do you speak? Oh well, is that your native language, Dutch?
yes, so Belgium has 3 national languages.
Yeah.
So the north is Dutch, the south is French, and then you have a little part in the east that's German.
Yeah.
So, and I live in the north part, so that's why we speak Dutch. But my father is from the south, so I actually also speak French. And our dialect is a little bit German, so we speak German also, and then English. So,
So it's handy for gigs then.
yes, it's handy for gigs. You
Yeah.
can do your gigs in Germany and Holland and France, so I'm good.
Yeah. So I'm just gonna go right back to the beginning with you. Who's Kristoff? Where did it all begin for you?
Good question. I don't know. I always liked music,
Yeah.
so wanted to do music, and my parents weren't too convinced. But I have an uncle who is like a classic pianist,
Yeah.
and I did some private lessons with him, and he said that I should continue doing the piano and the music. And I started doing music school. I did my 12 years of music school, classically trained pianist and all that.
Oh wow.
And meanwhile, while doing the whole music school, we started with buying a computer and making music on the computer. But this is pre all the you know, today
Everything,
tools, you know, so today it's easy to make music on a computer. You buy a computer, you have your VSTs, you know,
Yeah.
it's every computer is stuffed with tons of memory and hard drives and all that, but it wasn't, you know. My first music computer was the Amiga 500,
Yeah.
and then the proper one where I made my music on was a Atari 1040, which is 1 megabyte RAM.
Yeah. That was the posh one as well.
Yeah, but it is 1 megabyte RAM. I
Yeah.
don't know if people understand 1 megabyte RAM.
Yeah.
And I was so proud. I had a hard drive, and the hard drive was 60 megabytes, so it could store some records. And every song had to be on like a floppy disk.
Yeah.
And then you had like a big MIDI you had to put on the side to connect all your synthesizers because there were no VSTs.
Yeah.
So you had to connect all your hardware synthesizers.
Yeah.
So that's how we made music. You know,
Excellent.
that's the old
So when did
school
this
way.
journey start? How old were you?
The music making, basically from the moment I started taking lessons, I started writing songs. I did 2-3 hours of music a day, and I started writing songs after the first lessons, and then on the computer was like 12 years old. 12
Yeah,
years.
yeah, right,
And then
yeah.
did my first proper demos at 15, 16, and then got signed with the record company at 18.
Excellent, excellent.
So-
See, when you were writing at 15, like your demos, would you say, if you listen back to them now, are they of good quality or nah? Shit.
Always have to think about what's it called, the TV show where they show you a message and then after will self-destruct. So
Yeah.
I wish they would do with every demo I had. So,
For the
but
bad.
you can hear. Well, it's not bad, but you could hear there is something in it.
Yeah.
But I think in order to get the extra level, you need you need to keep on working and keep on doing and keep on
Yeah.
doing and keep on doing it.
Consistency is key, isn't it?
Consistency, yeah. So it's, I think the problem with music, maybe it's today's, for example, music industry. People like to make a cover, a remake. Why? Because when you do it, it instantly sounds nice. So it's easy to work with. And actually, writing original music, it's all about being uncomfortable with it.
Out your comfort zone, sort of
Yeah.
thing, yeah.
And you need to be uncomfortable the whole time. Everything you make has to be shit. And then keep making it. And then one from these 50 demos or 100 demos is like, oh, this is really good.
Yeah.
So, and yeah, that's what I experienced all these years.
So when
being
you
uncomfortable.
so when you got signed, what was the track that got signed? Like, what, it must have been of a decent quality when you were 18.
Well, it was different times. So what happened is the label was a sub label of EMI,
Yeah.
and they didn't have any studios they were working with. So they just had DJs and possible artists,
Yeah.
but they didn't have any studio. They didn't have anybody who could make music,
Yeah.
who was could write music, could play an instrument and all that.
Yeah.
So when I approached them, they were like, you have your studio, you have, you can play music, you can play piano.
Yeah.
So what they did is they offered me a deal first to sit in the studio with these other DJs and make records for them.
Yeah.
And kind of like a tryout.
Yeah.
So, but I made 3 demos and they were all released and everybody was happy. So the one it's a trance song I made, and it was in '96, which became the biggest selling trance record of the year in the world.
Not bad.
So the other one was like a club anthem.
What was the trance tune, just out of curiosity?
It's DJ Young Santo. So if you hear it, you will know it. But
Yeah.
everybody played it. So from Tiesto to Armin to Niels van Gogh to everybody. Everybody was playing.
Yeah.
So that was good. And then another one was like a club anthem, and then a third one was a commercial Eurodance.
And what was that?
That was Absalom. And then there was top 10 in Belgium, top 10 in Germany, number 1 in Spain. So
It's not bad, is
not
it?
bad for a start.
For a start off. Hey, it's a good start to a music career, I must say.
The funny part is when I did Absalom and had to mix it, I blew my speakers, and I had to go. We did like DJ gigs with my brother, and we had the old like GB system. So there was like the fake GBLs.
Yes.
GB system sounded like crap.
Yeah.
So I had to go and take the big speakers and put them in the studio.
Oh, no
Because I
way.
had no sound, I had to mix it on the big speakers, sounding like shit. So, but end result was still okay.
Do you know something? I'd find that so useful. So have your studio monitors there, but have like a club-ish system. Because do you know when you finish music and you go to the club and you club test it, and then sometimes you maybe hear something.
Yeah.
Same with the car. If you car test it and you put it in the car and you hear something, if you've got a reference point in your studio of a club sound system, why not use it?
I actually had one of the DJs. I did a track with one of the DJs,
Yeah.
and he card tested it. But it was like DJ One Finger. It was like an 808 with a techno sound on it, like stuff like that. And he put it on this. He says, "I'm gonna card test it. I'm gonna card test it." So he put it on max volume, and it was just a little sound first, and then it did boom, 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 and it destroyed all the speakers.
Excellent. I love it.
So,
Yeah. So you got off to a absolute flying start of a
yeah, it
music
was
career.
not bad. Yeah, it was
Yeah.
not bad.
So what was the record label called? Sorry, if you don't mind me asking.
So it was Antler Subway, which was part of EMI.
Yeah.
So, and Antler is the label that does Praga Khan, lots
Yeah.
of acid, and lots of new beat tracks.
Got yourself in a good place, like sort of straight away as well, isn't it? It's
Yeah.
like you haven't got, you've just straight in at the deep end as well.
Yeah, no, it was good.
Yeah.
And back in the days, it was different. The labels were more serious. Like it's too easy to have a label today.
Yeah.
And back in the days, it took a real investment to do it. So before starting a label, people would like really think about it.
Yeah, you'd have to have like a proper business plan.
And you need a proper business plan. You need proper artists. You need proper records, all that. Because if you're spending 10, 20,000 per release,
Yeah.
you can't just release it.
Yeah.
Now it's not. It doesn't even cost money. You just make a record, use the aggregator
Yeah.
who puts it online on all streaming platforms, and that's it. So it didn't cost you any money to do it, just making the song. But back in the days, on top of making the song, you needed to promote it. You needed to press vinyls. You needed to go promote it to the radio stations, and so it was much more expensive to do it. So people thought about, is the song really good before putting it out?
I always think to myself when I do a tune, right? I think, would somebody back in the day press this up on like a white label to see if it would sell? And if it's not, I don't think it's good enough, then I won't release it. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
If would I part with physical money to pay for this tune? And if I'm like, no, I'm like, well, it's not getting released. It'll just get put to one side.
Yes.
I think that's what that lacks a lot in today's music as well, because anyone, like as you can say, I've seen a couple of these distribution sites online. I can't remember the names of them off the top of my head, but there's one like I can't remember if it's called Tune Buddy or something like that, and it's like literally anybody can sign up to it. You don't even need to have a label or nothing. It's just it'll put it on Spotify, it'll put it on YouTube, it'll put it on everywhere, and it's like there's no quality control at all to it. Do you know what I mean?
With 70,000 songs added to Spotify every day, you think they're all good?
No, not a chance. I've seen something like a statistic off Spotify. Do you know when they do your end of year review? And I was reading about it, and it said only 5% of the tracks released in 2022 had more than 100 streams. 5%. So it shows you how much shit there is. But there's a lot of people in that 5% though, isn't there? So it's like, think of how much music's just been left in the dark. Do you know what I mean? It's just, that's it. Whether it's shit or good.
I actually have. In Belgium. There is a guy who actually has a show, and what he does is he goes on Spotify, and looks for songs that had no airplay, like
Yeah.
zero, and then promotes the record.
If he thinks it's a good record.
It's for fun.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
it's like I'm gonna play your song, and then it goes up to I don't know how much.
That's a great idea as
Just
well.
to support.
Yeah. Obviously, if there's a good record out there and it's not getting the attention it deserves, then I think that's a fantastic idea.
Well, the problem today is that even if, like, people always say, well, if it's a good song, it will get there,
Yeah.
but it's not.
No, it's not true. You've got to nowadays. I've discovered with this podcast. When I first started doing the first 10 episodes or something like that. I was putting it out and I was like, "This is a podcast. See what you think of it and stuff." And nobody latched onto it really. Get a couple of like my followers that would latch onto it, and then when I started promoting it properly, paying for ads, paying for everything like that, and it's like it's reaching people now. Same with records. If you're not promoting records now, what's the point? You could make the best record ever.
Well, basically, even if, let's say you have 500 good records that are offered to the radio station,
Yeah.
and they add 3 songs in a week, and one is the new David Guetta, and the other one is the new Nicki Minaj, for example, leaves you with 1 record they could add that week from the 500 up-and-coming artists that have something. You know, even if 10% of these records is good,
Yeah.
that's still 50 records, from which 1 will be played.
Yeah.
So
you're
you're
left
left
the
with
haystack, isn't it?
So you're left with 49 records which are good, which are never gonna get the airplay.
Yeah.
So
It's a scary thing, but that's
Yeah.
isn't it? It's
that's why I always say, you know, I got lucky also. So I can't say I'm not lucky. you
Yeah.
know. So are they good records that I made? Possibly.
Yeah.
But I also got lucky.
Yeah.
So
I
and
understand.
I'm honest about that. You know.
Yeah. Do you think it was a lot of things, like when you say you've got to be consistent with your records and stuff like that? Do you think a lot of things is like right place, right time, and stuff like that? Would
Yeah.
you say?
Also, the only thing, basically, music is a weird industry. You have to accept that you can't control everything you do.
Yeah.
I think that's basically it. A lot of artists get depressed and are like, oh, you know, I can't get there and all that. But you have to think in a different way. You can write every day. You can promote yourself every day. You can, post and do things. Yeah. But all that is only maybe, let's say, 20% of the influence you can have on a record.
Yeah.
And the other 80% you don't control.
Yeah.
It's the record label, it's DJs picking it up, it's the support, all these things. You can't control it.
Yeah.
So
You could be the hardest worker in the world and still not
Yeah.
get there.
and you have to be realistic. So the only thing you can control is the amount of work you do. So, and every time you make a song, you have an opportunity. So the only thing you can control yourself is giving yourself a lot of opportunities by writing a lot of records.
There's some very good advice. I like that a lot. I do.
And some people think they work hard,
Yeah.
but nobody actually works hard. Look, I together with my, I did lots of the tracks with Eric, my music partner.
Yeah.
Yeah, we've been writing since 2000. Yeah.
Yeah.
We have like 10,000 records.
Wow. That's
You know,
insane.
So
statistic.
everybody who thinks they work hard,
Yeah.
do you have 10,000 records? That's it.
Yeah.
So and that's what, and I'm
Yeah.
releasing and I'm having the best contacts in the world and all that stuff.
Yeah.
And I still have to make 10,000 records. Do you have a couple of tracks?
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
why you think you make 10 records and think you need to, you
A deal.
deserve
Yeah,
the best deal in the world,
I
It's
know what you
not.
mean.
Just be realistic. It's
Yeah.
what I say.
Absolutely. No, I agree with you. It's a really good outlook on how the music industry is, and obviously you've been around long enough to your opinion is a valued opinion. I think people will watch this and be like, that's interesting.
I never say I know everything.
Yeah.
And
no, you're just
and-
talking about your experience. man.
And
That's all
I
it
can
is.
only say what I experienced myself.
Mm-hmm.
And there's always people who can be lucky. There's always people, there's people winning the lottery, So
Yeah.
you can always be lucky. You can make one demo and instantly be famous,
Yeah.
But on average,
It's not,
it's
yeah.
not like that. It's this how you work. You work your ass off. You work a lot. You make so many songs, and one of them, from all the tracks that you make, there is one that you say, "Oh, this is really good," and that's the one that maybe is gonna do something.
Yeah.
And then when it does something, you have to make sure that you make your money, because
Yeah.
that's another one. You can have a big hit and still not get paid.
Yeah. 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 We weren't talking about that off the podcast at all. Yeah.
That's
No, it's true.
You know, even I know every big artist I know, everyone, yeah, from the 90s till now, every big artist I know got scammed, you know. So it's
Yeah.
not that it's uncommon, you know.
Yeah.
It is what it is. So on top of working hard, also, you know, be intelligent and know what you sign,
Yeah.
because that's another issue. You know, you can have a great song, if you make a shitty deal, you're still not gonna make money.
Yeah. Exactly.
And people
And
abuse it.
a lot of people would say in the music industry, "Oh, it's not about money; it's about the creativity and
Yeah,
stuff like that."
that's for any artist that is listening.
Yeah.
That's the worst thing you can say.
Yep.
Never go to a record company and say, "Oh, I do it for the love of music," because the first thing they're gonna do is like,
Drop your contract.
no,
yeah.
they're like, "Oh yeah, we're gonna screw him big time." That's the only thing you do.
Yeah.
Because you're not in it for the music.
Yeah.
No, don't be retarded. You know, just say, "Of course I'm doing for the music," because
Yeah.
it's the worst thing. Imagine you make a big record, it's a big hit, and you make zero money from it.
Yeah.
You're gonna be frustrated on top of that.
But another thing as well, I see, this is just for looking from another angle, is I see a lot of people who engineer music nowadays, right? And they engineer a track or they'll engineer a style of music they're not necessarily interested in, and it'll matter, the track might blow up, right? That the money they could make off that could give them the financial freedom and the
Yeah.
time to produce music they want to do.
Yeah, yeah.
So that's why money is a big factor in the music industry.
Well, basically, I'm always open for anybody. You know, I always help out people if I can.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I don't have a lot of time, but always take the time to reply to people who send me messages and all that stuff. So, forgot what I wanted to say.
Yeah.
It is important to think about what you're doing.
Yeah.
For example, I know guys that say, well, somebody asked me to produce a track and do like a ghost track. So they say they pay me money.
Yeah.
I make a track and give it to them. You know, in a way, I can understand that people do it. You know, you have artists and producers and all that. They say, oh, I want to make a certain amount of money each month.
Yeah.
And they say, well, if I can do 3, 4, 5 productions for other people, get money from it, yeah, I'll make enough, you know, to be able to do this as
Yeah.
a living.
Yeah.
Personally, I'm not like a fan of giving away my rights, because you never know,
You never know.
and that's the problem. I'll tell you a story. The Technotronic
Yeah.
Pump Up the Jam, yeah.
Cool.
Yeah. So the guy who made this, he's not the only guy who made it. He had a guy in the studio with him, and he said, "Can you help me out with this song?" And that's the guy who wrote the chords on it.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then the guy said, "What do you want for it?" And he said, "Well, it's okay. You do something for me next time." Yeah. The original artist made 50 million on it, at least.
Yeah. That's
Do you understand?
Yeah.
And the other one went crazy. And you know, I don't say every record gonna make 50 million, but at least always, even if you want to give away a share, always keep some of the
Something,
share.
yeah.
Or if you know it has potential,
Yeah.
then it's very important. I always tell everybody never to give away their shares. Make different kind of deals.
Yeah.
There's
Absolutely.
enough ways to make money of it.
That's some very good advice. And also absolute heartbreaking that you never got a like when you see whoever's in the studio with them didn't get their cut of what essentially is the track as well, isn't it? Like them
Yeah.
chord that
He could have easily said, well, give me 1/3 of the record, and that would have made him 10,
Yeah.
20 million.
Yeah. And he had the freedom to write his own music as well, because
Yeah.
he'd have just been living off that. You see some people who have one-hit wonders and they've retired because they've had their one hit
Yeah.
and that's it. Like, but then if you are truly passionate about music, when you see these people who's in the industry and they go, "I'm in it because I love it," and it's like, well, if that's true, if you've got a big hit, get as much as you can from it, so then you can sit and be the creative that you are.
Well, I'm happy that I can do what I want.
Yeah.
So the songs that I did make it that I don't have to worry about it.
Mm-hmm.
And that gives me freedom. And I always had the freedom. So I never had to do any other job or so. So I only, from 18 years old, I only did music.
Right.
And
Well,
that gives you freedom. So I don't have to worry and stress. So I can say, okay, let's try a new genre of music, for example, and then spend a month trying new things, but not having to worry that I have to make a
Yeah.
record because
Yeah.
else I have no money left. You
Yeah.
know, because that's a problem. Like a lot of people, they want to do things, but they are limited. For example, the guys who make productions and being paid for it,
yeah.
because they always do it, they limit themselves. So, but it's hard. You know, I have it easy. You know, so that's why I also try to help people.
Yeah.
So because I know how hard it is, I know how hard it is to have to worry, you know, about the money and to have to worry about, you know,
That
will
side
it
of
make something and will it get signed and all that stuff. So, and I'm helping. I have a couple of artists that I say, okay, you do good productions. Let me help you. Let me, you know, get you a couple of deals. So
Yeah.
at least you can make money, and you can see that it's ghost producing is not always only way to make money.
Yeah.
There's other ways to make
Absolutely.
money.
I love that. Absolutely love it. We'll sort of, we sort of touched on there that you were 18 that you've never had to go and do something else. So when you were 18, sort of going into your 20s, what was next for you? Were you a DJ at this point, or were you still just producing? Or
I basically did gigs, but also as an artist. So I, you know, back in the days was the Euro dance, so you had to go on stage with your keyboards and all that
yeah,
stuff.
yeah, like live PA type thing. Yeah,
So
yeah.
I had to do like and TV shows and then gigs. But we did tons of gigs back in the days. I did like 5, 6, 7 gigs a weekend.
So, what part of you been? How old were you when you thought, "Wow, this is something's happening here"? Some like it's the it's snowballing. When did you get that idea?
Well, there's always a snowball, but it's a different level. For example, when I did 95, 96, and 1999, 1995 and 1996 and all these things, when it started the productions, it was already comfortable. So I was doing the gigs in the weekend. Was doing productions. I was getting sales. There was in the, you know, I had records in the charts.
Yeah.
So everything was, you know, fine, but that was on let's say a national level and like European level.
Yeah. So were you just playing at Belgium at this point when you were with your gigs?
96, 97. Well, yes and no. I did Belgium and Holland, Germany, Spain. I even did Japan, but it wasn't like, it was success, but not like major success.
Yeah, yeah,
So and only until 2000 when I did the Ian Vandal project,
yeah,
then you see that there is levels in success.
Yeah.
And that was another level. That was
leveling up sort of thing.
Yeah, that was international. So if you're in the charts all over the world, it's next level. It's you know.
You don't realize it until you're there as well, sort of
Yeah.
thing. Yeah.
So
So we'll sort of rewind a little bit. So 98, 99, you're doing. Are you just doing solo stuff at this point on your own?
no, it's well,
Mm.
yes, it's not solo stuff. I just what I did is I did create projects. So I had like Eurodance projects. So what I would do is I would write songs, get a singer, and make it like a band,
Yeah.
and then release it. You know, like
Yeah,
the
a lot of
LSDJs.
a lot of Euro artists done that back in the day, didn't they?
Yeah.
Where, because a lot of people as well, because you were maybe making a Euro sound, and you were maybe writing, I don't know, the other side, maybe like a techno tune, and you don't want them worlds to
No,
clash.
I had aliases for
Yeah,
everything.
at least for everything.
Yeah.
So
So,
when you were coming up with that, so can you tell me the story of how did Ian Vandal project become a thing?
well, basically in like 98, 99, I had the Eurodance projects, then the singer got an offer from EMI itself
Yeah.
to do a solo project with them, and she asked if it was okay, and I was like, oh, we did the project for a couple of years, you know, do it. I'll help you with it. I'll write some songs for you. And then meanwhile, I was like, okay, what's next? And then in '99, I started working with my neighbor, who happened to be, you know, Eric,
Yeah.
who has his own studio also. And then we put the studio together. So we had his gear, his music gear, my gear. We put it all together. And then we started writing songs. And then one of these songs was Castles in the Sky.
Right.
And so we did that with Marsha, who was a singer who came to the studio to do demos. And so we were like, okay, it's not bad, the song, so let's see what the label says. They needed a project name, and Ian Vandal actually comes from Jan Vandal. It's like a song. It's like Average Joe, you know.
Yeah.
So it's a song about Average Joe,
Okay.
and it's Jan Vandal, but it's 2 words. But Jan, I already had a project called Jan, so
Yeah.
I was like, oh, let's make it cooler and call it Ian. And then Vandal, we would make 2 words from it, like Van Gogh,
Yeah.
Niels van Gogh, like Paul van Dyk. You
Yeah.
know, we were like, oh, that's cool names, so let's do it like that. So we had Ian Van Dahl, and then the Dahl, we wrote it like Roll Dahl.
I knew that was coming.
Yeah, so to have it like an international appeal. So, and then if you write it down, Ian Van Dahl, it's like, that's actually a proper cool name.
Yeah.
So, and that's what we offered to the label, and they said, oh, it's shit, and it's a shit name, and it's a shit song. But we will release it anyway.
Wow. So, if you don't mind me asking, can we just go back a couple of steps, if that's okay? When you were writing the track, did you write the instrumental first?
Most of the time we just write instrumentals. So
Yeah.
we write tons of demos, and then from these demos, then we say, okay, this has some potential. Those are the one that we continue working on, and then we write lyrics on it and a melody and stuff like
Was
that.
it the keys that came? Do you know when you first hear the tune, like dun 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 dun, when it's coming in? What was
Actually, it was because people always say, yeah, "Is it really you who did it all that?" But I wouldn't remember all the things if it wasn't me doing it.
Yeah.
For example, I know that Eric, because it was at his mom's place where the studio was, so he was already in the studio. I came, you know, in the morning, came to his, and he was like, "Hey, Chris, I have this sound and this. Can you listen to it?" And it was actually just with the kick on it. I said, actually, that's a cool sound. It was a CS 6X from Yamaha.
Right.
I said, but on the sound, I think it's 26, the number of the sound. So I said, on the sound, there's a arpeggiator. So if you take it off and then shorten it and then play with it and make your own chords. So I was like, so I said, you know, you do the 2 and so you chords and then in the 2 and in the 4. So I was like, okay, why don't we do and then do a progression? And I just tried a couple of progressions and then ended up in the melody, and I was like, that's nice. So that's the basics. So the basic idea from the beginning. Yeah, so that you had that. Was it CGA? And then I was like, okay, until the break we're good. So we need like a melody, and let's do like a sequence where we follow the chords, but then with like a cool sound. And then I think we used the Access Virus. I think it was, Access Virus A. We used that one, and then added up, you know, like GP 8000 as like a sound to fill it up, and but
at what point did you realize?
Sometimes it's just like a puzzle.
Yeah.
Like, so it's every time you make a song, it's a puzzle. It's basically it. So sometimes it goes so smoothly. You're like, okay, this is good. This will work with it. This will work with it. This will work with it, and it goes so smooth and all that. Basically, everybody says, well, the song took only an hour to make. Basically, every song only takes an hour to make. But sometimes the result is shit, and sometimes the result is good.
Yeah.
But basically, every time you make a song, you can make a song within an hour.
Yeah.
So, but you need many hours to have, from all these hours, have a good song.
Yeah, absolutely.
So, but yeah, sometimes it's like you,
yeah.
you know,
So at what point did you realise that demo in particular had potential? Was it hearing that sound off?
Yeah, but you know, when you have the chords and the sounds, and you're like, oh, this is good. You also have to think about that. At that time, sounds were more unique. I don't know how to explain. Like, if you are a producer today, you can have every single sound in the world.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Readily available to you as well.
Everything is available. You just go on like what's it, Splice and
Yeah.
all these companies. You know, one of them where you have a subscription or you buy it, but everything is available. So basically, yeah, even if you buy it or hack it, it doesn't matter. You can have a computer and say, okay, I want the Spire, I want the Silent, I want the Massive, I want the Omnisphere, I want the Arcade, Outlook Arcade, I want, anything is possible. You can
Yeah.
have everything, but everybody has everything.
Yeah.
So everything sounds like everything. While back in the days, you had to make a choice, because every synthesizer was 1,000 or 2,000 pounds.
Yeah.
So we're like, okay, what you gonna buy? Let's buy the Uno, or let's buy the Prophet 5. Let's
Yeah.
buy the Yamaha, the CS1X. Let's buy the Triton Korg or the M1. So you have to make choices, and this combination of these synthesizers gave a little bit sound of your studio.
Yeah.
So, and you had to make all the sounds, because there is no sounds. You have to make them. You have the 128 basic sounds in a synthesizer.
Yeah.
So all the other ones you had to make.
Yeah.
So what you did is you made a sound. So if you finally have a sound from a synthesizer which isn't used that much, and all these combinations, then you're like, oh, this is actually cool.
Yeah.
So you had more opportunities to be unique.
Yeah.
Also, the state of mind was different. Today, somebody would say, "Oh, let's make a song like Jack Jones. Let's make a sound
Yes.
like Joel Corey. Let's make a sound like." While back in the days, we would say, "What sound hasn't been there?"
Yeah, I understand where you're coming from. I've found as well, when I've collaborated with other artists and stuff like that, I've found that, do you not think that people's inspirations are from different places now? See, before in the 90s, there was no electronic generation before, so you would take your ideas from, say, maybe disco or Euro pop or rock music even, but now you hear these new artists who come through and they're just taking inspiration from the club music that they heard the generation before. So the evolution of the music isn't there's nothing new coming.
Because like when I did trance in 95, 96, that was the start of trance.
Yeah,
so
yeah,
there was no trance.
Yeah.
So you had to create things and imagine things, like how would it be?
Yeah.
All the
Yeah.
sequences. That's why you had the Goriella, and that's why you had all these very Corsten songs and all these which were good. So now they still make trance, but you have 20 years of trance making.
Yeah, to evolutionize that sound.
Yeah. So that's why I kind of like. Maybe that's why I also make other styles of music, where all these inventions and all these standardization, how you say it, hasn't been
There
yet.
Yeah, I understand.
You know what I mean?
Yeah,
Like if
it's
I
like
would
new
make
genres
if I
and-
would do something different now, which isn't evolved that much.
Mm-hmm.
You know, it gives you more liberty. That's something that is already like if I would do rock music at this moment.
Yeah.
You know, we have 50 years of 60 years of rock music. How hard is it to be really original
In that time, yeah.
yeah.
And I just
So-
say so many songs are coming out at the same time as well now.
Yeah.
Yeah. But I've seen so for instance, I'll use this as an example because I know a little bit about it. Is the tech house boom of the early 2010s. That sound was its own sound, never done before. Everyone started to sound like each other eventually, but the original tech house from the early 2000s didn't sound anything like it. So when the new tech house came along, these people were making music that hadn't been heard before, and then you see them now, for instance, and they're like the pioneers of that scene. Because of how it's the same with yourself. You come along when the trance music first came along.
There's still tons of pioneers. Like Skrillex is a pioneer
Exactly.
of the drum and bass and the dubstep
The
and all
dubstep
these
thing,
things.
yeah.
You know, so
That's what I'm getting at. Do you know what I mean? So like he's now known as like one of the pioneer,
Yeah.
the godfathers of dubstep, and that genre only came into international existence
Yeah.
in like 2013, 2012.
Yeah.
So if you get in somewhere early enough, you can have that freedom of testing. That you're not working to a standard or a template.
Yes.
You can
yeah.
just
And I
test.
think it's kind of what we did.
Mm-hmm.
So all the stuff we did in the early 2000s, all the clubland stuff,
Yeah.
was setting a standard for
Yeah.
now.
Well, you weren't working from a template before. There was no Ian
No.
Vandal before this.
No,
Like,
no,
do you know
no,
what I mean?
no.
Or any other artists. So yeah, we were talking about the castles in the sky thing. When you finished that demo, and you said about getting the vocalist on. So who wrote the lyrics and who come up with the how it should sound? Was it are you a good songwriter, like lyrically?
Well, I never call myself good.
No, not good, but like
yeah, no,
like
well, you can't say that the lyrics are the most difficult in the world. You know,
No.
I'm not like a poet.
Yeah.
You know, like some artists like Leonard Cohen or whatever,
Hmm.
you know, are poets and they can write something which where it makes you think. You know, basically it's still dance music, and it's always good to have some kind of message.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. But basically, you're on the dance floor, so you want something you can sing along with, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So, how it mostly goes is you write a song, you have your instrumental, you get the singer in, and you
Yep.
say, let's get together, play the track, the instrumental, put it in a loop, and say, okay, who has some ideas, and everybody says stuff, and then you end up having something.
Mm-hmm.
You know, it's the same with Didi when they did Forever.
yeah.
So Didi came to the studio. She did some demos, to show she could sing.
Yeah.
And then I told her, I said, "It's nice, you're doing covers now
Yeah.
to show your voice."
Yeah.
I said, "But I want to hear how you are in your original voice."
Yeah.
So basically, what happened is when she came to do the test, I was working on a demo. I put it on the demo and put it in a loop. I played some stuff. I was giving her an example, yeah, and then ended up writing Forever.
Yeah.
You
You
know?
singing it?
Well,
no,
kinda.
DD, it's like this.
yeah, but you interact with people.
yeah.
It's basically like ATB,
Yeah.
9 p.m. It's the same. He was in the studio. His girlfriend was there, and he was showing his girlfriend how you make music. So he did the do 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 do.
Yeah.
So basically, by showing his girlfriend how music is done, he wrote a 9 p.m. song.
Yeah. It's a great tune, by the way.
So, and it's the same with Didi. She was
Yeah.
in the studio. I was like, why don't you do the, na 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 na. Yeah, and then you start working on it. She's
Yeah.
like, oh, let's write some lyrics on it, and then one with other, and then in a couple of hours the song was there.
Yeah, excellent. I love that, man.
So
I love that. So yeah, so you finished the Castles in the Sky. They didn't like it at the label, but they released it anyways. Where did it go from there?
it had two lives. So it did all right in Belgium. It got picked up in Germany. Dosodai, I think it was. It did alright in the clubs, and then ended up in like Ibiza, Mallorca, and all that stuff. And the English crowd took it back home. You had Dave Pierce from New Life, PMG, who signed it. So, but just before it was Martin Dott who wanted it.
Right.
Martin Dott is the vice president Sony,
Yeah.
who was at that time managing Britney Spears.
Right.
So he wanted to sign it for worldwide. So Sony had to get all the Sony companies, and then everybody had to agree they wanted to release it, so they could do a worldwide release. So Martin Dott was waiting for all the Sonys, and there were like a couple big territories that didn't want to sign it. So he didn't end. He ended up not signing it, and then instead, Dave Pierce signed it on a New Life label,
Right.
and then had his TV show, his radio show on Radio 1, the trance anthems.
Yeah.
And then from there it picked up, and because New Life signed it and released it, you know, other labels in other countries signed it, so it got released all over the world. But ideal would be Martin Dott signing it,
Yeah.
with the push that they have, because they had Britney Spears, they had, I think, NSYNC, I think also.
Right.
So with that push worldwide, maybe would have been better or not. You never know.
Never know. Yeah.
So, but what the job that Dave Pierce did was phenomenal. So yeah, so I'm not unhappy. So
Yeah.
it's what it is.
I love that, by the way. I love that. So, at what point did you realize that, oh, this is really sort of took off, this track? Like, because obviously you know that it was getting played in Spain and stuff like that. At what point were like, did you not think, wait a minute, British are playing this as well and listening to this? Like,
I think the point that you realize, oh, this is really gonna do something. It was like a peak point in my life, but also my biggest point back into reality. So it's very contradictory. How you say contradictory?
oh, contradictory.
Yeah,
Contradictive.
period.
Right.
For me, that moment is very, because the label, our label,
Yeah.
called me on the phone and said, well, we have the first results for the records
Yeah.
in England, because nobody believed they would do something. And he said, we're going to enter the record, the charts on number 5.
Wow.
Yeah, we sold, and it's funny because we sold more records than the week before. The week before, Roger Sanchez was number 1,
Was that Another Chance?
Yeah.
Was it? Yeah.
and we were released the next week,
Yeah.
and we sold more records than Roger Sanchez with his number 1.
Yeah.
But we're only number 5 because there were so many other
So,
records.
yeah.
Was Robbie Williams, Angels,
Knocked you off top spot.
You couldn't beat that one.
Yeah. Listen,
So-
if you're in competition with Rob Williams
Yeah.
in his peak time, with
Yeah.
his number 1 track as well,
We
you're not doing bad, are you?
But we did beat Michael Jackson and Janet Jackson with their combined song, and Missy Elliott also.
Yeah.
So we're pretty happy. But the good part was that they said, well, you're in at number 5. It's gonna blow up. It's gonna be massive.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So you're like, yeah, I'm happy. You know, I made it in my life. You know, I'm a little kid from Belgium.
Yeah.
You know, nobody believed me. Everybody laughed with me and
Yeah.
said I would never make it. You know, I was an idiot to believe I would do anything with music. You know, here you go, all my teachers. Yeah. And then, so that was a top peak moment. And then the next sentence the label said is, well, we need the new single in 2 weeks.
Oh, wow.
So we don't have time to celebrate, go back in the studio because we need it, you know.
A follow-up, yeah.
That
yeah,
was,
yeah.
you know, so basically you got thrown back into reality at the same moment, like, plof. So,
Yeah, it's good that you've got a starting base, though. What was the follow-up single to Castles in the Sky?
Will I?
Was it Will I? Yeah.
Yeah.
Excellent. And
That was funny also because we had to do a TV show in Germany, Viva. So it's like the MTV of Germany.
Yeah.
Well, the old MTV, not the new MTV, because the new MTV doesn't play music. But the
It's
old
the Kardashians, isn't it?
Yeah. So kids, MTV played music. It was music TV back in the days.
Yeah.
Only music. So Viva said we want to do like, so there was like club rotations called, and they would have artists perform in the club, record it and show it on TV.
Yeah.
So they wanted to do Castles in the Sky.
Yeah.
So I'm like, okay, let's do this show. And then they said, oh, by the way, you have to do 2 songs.
Oh, wow, okay.
So, but basically you make a song, you didn't expect it gonna be a big hit. You're not even working on the next one because you just made it.
Yeah.
So we're like, oh, we have to make another song. So when they called us, we said, oh, let's start. And that day we made the demo.
For Will I, yeah.
Yeah.
Wow, that's interesting.
So we were like, okay, let's do not like Castles.
Yeah.
Because I hate it when people do like one record, it's a nice record, and then just say, oh, let's keep the template, erase everything, and just use all the same sounds and make a second song which sounds like the first one.
Yeah.
I hate it. So I was like, let's do something which is still cool, but nothing like Castles, which is nothing what the label liked.
Yeah.
So, but yeah.
I like that tune, to be fair.
Yeah. So we did, but it used to be just synthesizer. So it was an instrumental track.
Yeah.
So we did the show, and we actually had in Germany, we had more reaction on the Will I track than on Castles.
Interesting. That is interesting.
So we're like, let's do that one. Put the lyrics on it. Went to the label, and it's funny because the label first said, well, let's just release, because when they did Castles, it was when like Musti, Horny was out, all these house tracks. So they wanted the house tracks, and we're offering them trance track with vocals.
Yeah.
So they didn't like it. That's why they were not eager to release it. But then because it was a big success, when we brought Will I, the label said, well, we were expecting something like Castles. I said, but you can't just make something like Castles. You just make good music.
Yeah.
And which is also good but different.
I think the business side of music, though, if they can see a template or a way that works, they will milk it as much as they can.
They were wrong the first time. So why would they be right this time?
Yeah.
This is how if labels tell you they know how it works, they're lying.
Yeah.
Because if they knew they'd
they'd be the number one.
They would be number one all the time, but they're not, so they don't know how it works. They're always wrong.
Yeah.
So what they basically said is, well, we need a second single. It's not bad. We release it, but it's your
baby sort of thing.
Your responsibility if it flunks and all that. I'm like, okay. So, and it's funny because when it went in the charts, they're like, we did great.
Well done, yeah.
No, you didn't. We didn't do great. I wrote it. You said it was crap, but I did it. I pushed it, and you said it's all on you. It's all on you. And then when it's a hit, it's like, it's on me. No, it's not on me.
Yeah.
So, and then we did the same with the next one with Reason.
Yeah.
We did just the same. We said, let's make a nice song.
Great track, by the way.
And we do a great song. Nothing like Will I. Nothing like Castles. And again, we will have the same shit. And we had the same shit. So the label said, no, it's too simple, it's F F A G G, that's it.
So just out of curiosity, where did that come from, that idea? What made you want to strip it back so much? It's an iconic sound now, but where did that come from? Was that just like, did you knowingly go for that sound in particular with Reason?
I don't think like that.
No.
Basically, what you do is everybody works in a different way. Some people say I have a melody in my head and I play it. Yeah, but I don't. I just bump into things. So what I do is, let's say I have sounds and then scroll through all the sounds until I have a sound which I say, oh, this is a nice sound, and then try to find a melody for it. So that's basically it.
Yeah.
So, and with the you had more like a portato on the Will I, which I was like, maybe we make it different with the staccatos.
Yeah.
You know, like,
Yeah.
so to have like a difference in it. Well, but you don't do it on purpose. It's like in a little bit in your mind.
Yeah.
Like your mindset is like, okay, how you do something different, then automatically do it different.
Yeah.
So
I'm really happy that you tried to make each
Yeah.
record.
but I had so much
Noticeable
trouble
difference.
doing it.
Yeah.
Honestly. And then they said, like, it's okay, but can you make it different? And I ended up making 28 remixes of Reason.
Interesting.
There's 28 versions of it. Yeah. Because it's stored like that. Reason version 1, Reason version.
Yeah.
I had 28 versions. And then they had the audacity to say, well, let's go for the verse version.
I like that. I like that a lot.
I'm
I
like,
that. Yeah. I know the feeling. I know the feeling.
So, and it is simple. I know it is simple, but sometimes simple is
Simple
good.
is
I
good,
like
yeah,
it
yeah,
because
yeah.
it's off the beat, you know.
It's got loads of energy in it as well. Yeah.
You know, that's the whole thing. So,
Yeah. Do you know my favorite Ian Vandal track is Try.
yeah, that's funny because that's a lot of even. I think, are you a hardcore guy then?
I've produced hardcore
Because a lot
hardcore
of
gigs.
bounce and hardcore guys say I like Try the most.
Try has got the most emotive.
Yeah.
The instrumentals really emotive,
Yeah.
and the vocals got a really
Yeah.
sits really nice in the track. Don't get me wrong, I like Reason. Reason was my favorite for a long time,
I'm not.
but yeah,
It's good. No, it's actually good. You know, I would have been, how you say it? It actually makes me happy. If there would be only one song, if people would say, oh, I like Castles,
Yeah.
and everybody would say, I like Castles, it would frustrate me
Yeah.
because there is many other songs.
your
there is
art ignored, isn't it? Then at that point,
but there is people, for example, in the trance, they say, I like your Xanto, the Reaching Into My Brain, that song.
Yeah.
And there is others that say, I like the Tiesto song, the Team from Nomfjell. I like that one, that's my favorite. There is people in the club that say, I like Baby Boomers, which is a club in Europe, the main country.
Right.
It's a big club hit. They like that one. There's people who like Didi. There's people who like the Castles, Reason, Try. So there's like different people like
That's
different
good.
songs, which makes me more happy. It's like it's not about one song. At least I'm not
Yeah.
a one-hit wonder. You know what I
Yeah,
mean?
yeah,
I would
yeah.
be frustrated if you know,
Yeah.
like if Peter Andre.
It's a legacy,
Mysterious
isn't it?
Girl,
That's
and
what it is.
everybody's like,
Yeah.
Mysterious Song. What's your other song? And nobody knows it. You
Yeah.
know, it's.
It's like a legacy, isn't it? You're not leaving one song, you're leaving
Yeah.
a legacy. That's it.
But I'm would want more. Like my goal would be to have also music in different genres, which would do great.
Yeah.
So that's why I'm doing a lot of film music and TV music and music for games and
Yeah.
all these things to be like I could be at how you say it, proud of all these things also.
Yeah.
Like if Fortnite uses a song that I made, or I have music in Traffic Cops or Sky Patrol, or
Yeah.
like Ugly Betty or something. It makes me proud too.
Yeah. I like that.
So that's
It's a different getting recognition from different areas
Yeah.
of in the industry, entertainment and
Yeah.
stuff. Yeah, I like that a lot.
So I'm also I do urban music, I do K-pop, I do
interesting.
pop music, house music. So more as a songwriter and producer for other artists.
Yeah.
But you also can get proud of it. That
Understandable, mate. I like that a lot. So we'll sort of like move on with your story then. So after all these tunes blew up in the 2000s and that, were you traveling a lot with gigs and that as well? Because at this point you've gone worldwide.
Yes and no. The whole issue, and it's a big issue, is because it was successful. The label wanted me in the studio all the time.
Yeah.
And because I had several projects, they were like, yeah, but you can't perform with this one and this one and this one.
Yeah.
So, and that's the point where they decided to say, okay, let's give the project the face of the singer, and that's why they started promoting Annemie as a singer of Ian Vandal.
Yeah.
And telling she was Ian Vandal.
Yeah.
And this and Didi was then Didi,
Yeah.
the face of Didi.
Yeah.
Yeah. So which would put me in the studio just producing and working.
Yeah.
So and I had a deal with the label, that it would benefit from all the gigs.
Yeah.
So which of course doesn't happen. That's why I'm suing them. But this is
I can
so
understand.
basically for all these years there's been a period of many years where I basically just was producing and producing and producing
Yeah.
and not doing the shows, and other people were taking credits for the stuff I did and
Yeah.
claiming to be me and all these things, and that gives a lot of people also the there is
The wrong impression.
yes, and there's a confusion because they're all like who is Ian Vandal, and because everybody saw the videos and sees the singer,
Yeah.
and they it's advertised as she is the one,
Yeah.
while she's just the face of it and
Yeah.
not the whole creator.
Yeah. Yeah. I understand that.
She didn't write the songs, she didn't produce them, she didn't create it.
Yeah.
So. And it's a lot in it happens so much
In the industry. Oh, absolutely. Yeah.
Everybody, if you would know who the real persons are, everybody's like, yeah, but that's the person. No, that's not the person. That's just the face.
Yeah. Well, I understand that. Yeah, it's a weird place in the music industry, isn't it?
Yeah.
Because you can't. For example, you couldn't go into the building industry, right? You build a house, and someone you just go, you'll be the face of that, and it's like, who built the house at the end of the day? Do you know what I mean? That's the way I see it.
Yeah.
Whether they get credited or not.
Yeah, and I
there's
do.
deals.
It's also a dilemma. For example, I DJ.
Yeah.
So I perform as a DJ and I make money as a DJ and all these things. But I have to be honest, a lot of artists don't get the credits they deserve. Because, let's be honest, let's say you're a cover band, like a live band, a cover band, and you're playing a Kings of Leon song, for example, or Oasis song. The cover band is playing the Oasis song. What do people say? Oh, that's a great Oasis song.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then the DJ is playing, and the DJ is playing track after track, great track. Everybody's like, oh, that DJ is great.
I know that.
No, the DJ's not great. It's great tracks.
You
know what I mean?
Yeah.
So, and then the David Guetta's, okay, some of them they produce, so I can't say anything because at least David Guetta has his releases and Calvin Harris has his releases. But there's a ton of DJs, they're famous. Nobody even knows why they're famous, and they're playing tracks from everybody else, but they are taking the credits while all these artists are making zero money.
I understand where you're coming from.
You know?
It's an interesting one, isn't it? Because a lot of, like you say, you've got these producers out there though who are signing deals saying, listen, I'll ghost engineer this and then I'll wipe my hands of it, no credits or anything. And then on the flip side, you've got people who are trying to get the right people credited for the right job that they actually did. It's something that's never going to be fixed, I don't think, ever.
No, but I know it's painful, but it's not right if the DJ gets 10,000 to play an hour, and all the tracks that he's playing are making these artists £100.
It's terrible, isn't it? Right, we'll be back again for part 2 in 2 minutes. Back for part 2 of the podcast with Ian Vandal. How's it going, mate? Let's do this. So we got up to like the early 2000s with your story just then. With these releases and the album and everything that came out, what did you find? Did you find yourself it was like leveling up, and then it was snowballing itself, or would you feel like you were having to put the work in to promote it, or and stuff like that with your releases and your tracks?
I think at a certain moment you don't control anything anymore. Other people live your life.
Yeah.
So you don't even have time to think. You just go from one place to the other, one project into the other. So yeah, it's out of your hands, and then basically you don't know where it ends. So the ball rolls, but you don't know how far. So you always hope it's gonna
Yeah.
get that extra push, you know. So in a way, you're disappointed when it doesn't. You know, you're like, oh, there is a release now in Japan. You know, you're like hoping where does it end?
Yeah.
You know, which position it would be in the charts, and then there's another country, and you always hope it's number one, but it's unrealistic. You know, you're not the one of these big bands. You know, the big projects who control the market and can actually push it into or have a following that big.
Yeah.
I think that they get in the top positions, but all in all, you know, you're happy. You know, you you look where it ends, and yeah, you have to
It's
be
an achievement, definitely.
It's you know, it's like when you do when you're an athlete, for
Yeah.
example, and you're a new athlete and you compete against the bigger athletes.
Yeah.
And you for example, you do martial arts or whatever, and you know you get in the second round and third round and all that. So you're on a flow, you know, but you don't reach a final, and you get kicked out of third place or fourth place. You know, you're disappointed. But all in all, if you look back, you know,
You've made it very far. Yeah.
So it's in a way like that, you know. So you're happy with all the success. You know, it would be nice if it was bigger, but then there's also a lot less, you know, successful. So you're happy with what you get.
Yeah. So statistically, what has been your biggest track? Would you say?
Castles.
Castles. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's interesting. So,
it's not always it depends. Like, but in regards of success, like being known by people and all that stuff. But sometimes there's tracks that make money that you don't even know that make money, but they're not known for the big audience.
Yeah.
But you know, you could do an advertisement song.
Yeah.
Which makes you more money than you ever made with another track.
Yeah.
But nobody knows about it, that it's you or whatever. So but in regards of people, like success and people knowing their songs and all that, it's probably Castles. Yeah.
Excellent. So during the so you're going to like sort of 2010 to 2020 sort of time. What like, can you tell us some of the projects you were doing at the time? So obviously you've got the Vandal thing, but what other aliases were you working as, and what genres of music were you doing? Or and you don't need to tell me them all, but any of note at that time?
I don't know. The problem with music is, unless it is something very, very successful, nobody knows about it.
Yeah. I know what you mean. Yeah.
So you can do tons of things which are okay, and then still people don't know it because it's
not on the mainstream.
It's not on the mainstream.
Yeah.
For example, we did thousands and thousands of songs, and so basically what you do is you try to reinvent yourself.
Yeah.
So in the period after a project, you say, okay, let's do a different project or do something else. So you try to do different projects, and you start different projects, and you try to create new sounds and all that. The problem with music is, in order to do something like that, it takes time. So you can easily work 6 months and a year on something.
Yeah.
And then if it doesn't work, you kind of lost a year. Yeah, which is not, but it feels like that.
If I know you're coming from. I think that's just in any art form, though, isn't it, as well?
Yeah.
Like it's not just music. It's over everything. You hear a lot of people who put a lot of heart and soul into like an independent release of a movie, and it could be. I'm a big follower of watching independent movies because there's a lot of stuff that it might not get promoted, but it's gold. It's better than anything that could be on the hot in Hollywood. And as frustrating as it is,
But
it's
let's
the
say
same.
you want to make a movie,
Yeah.
and you have your script. You have to rewrite your script and rewrite your script until you're like, oh, this is good. And then you have to find the actresses and actors who want to do it.
Yeah.
And it takes time to get them because you don't have the funding, so you have to find the funding. Yeah. So after what, it's easily 5-6 years before you can even start filming the project that you wanted.
Yeah.
So what had you know? If I ask you what have you been doing this last 5-6 years, you know what I mean?
Yeah, yeah.
It's hard to explain because it feels like you haven't done anything.
Yeah, I know you're coming from.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So and it's basically like that. Between personally, I don't think we did a lot. Yeah, in that 10 years.
Yeah.
But we actually did a lot.
Yeah, yeah.
So, for example, we try to find new sounds, new songs, new styles, and all that. So you do a couple projects.
Yeah.
They're not that successful. They were okay. I think one was I had a radio, and they did the like hit or miss or something.
Yeah.
And they had actually one of my projects in it, and I'm like, do you actually know this? I didn't even know that they know it. So,
Yeah.
But I did a lot of writing for other artists like
Yeah.
Two Vibes and Bass Lovers and Real Booty Babes. And
Yeah, yeah,
I
yeah.
did we did a project One More Angel, and we did a lot of also for. That's another one. If you do, let's say I do write something for a Spanish DJ you never heard of, you know,
Yeah.
is it successful or not? You know,
Yeah.
I had a top 10 in Spain, but nobody knows it here.
Yeah.
So it's if I mention it, nobody cares because nobody knows it. You know what I
Yeah,
mean?
I know where you're coming
Success
from.
is
Yeah.
very
Yeah.
relative. You know,
Yeah.
it depends where you know. You can have a hit in one record in one country and nobody knows it in the other one.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It works even in regions in this area.
Yeah.
In regions, there's some tunes that's big.
But just an example, and no disrespect or anything,
Yeah.
but for example, Ultra Beat,
Yeah.
Pretty Green Eyes, it's absolute anthem in the UK.
Yeah.
Nobody knows it in Belgium, for example.
Yeah.
Like zero, or Holland or Spain.
Yeah.
Nobody knows it. So if I mention, let's say I'm in Spain and say, well, I did Pretty Green Eyes,
Yeah.
nobody would know it.
Yeah.
Yeah, so that's how relative things are. I had Eurodance projects, for example, which are classics in Belgium, for example. But if I mention them here, nobody knows them.
Yeah.
So it's hard to say, well, what have you been doing? Or, you know,
Yeah.
I could mention 10 names and nobody would even know any of them.
Yeah.
But they did all right.
Yeah, yeah, I know where you're coming
So-
from, absolutely.
And then what I did is, for example, did stuff for TV. So
Yeah.
basically, you're sick and tired also a little bit about the music industry. So you look for different ways of generating money and different ways to express yourself.
Yeah.
And use your talent and all that. So, and one of the things I always loved was music for TV and film,
Yeah.
games, advertising, all that, which I never had the opportunity while I was with the label because they didn't want me to do it.
Yeah.
So when I left the label, I was like, okay, now I'm gonna try this.
Mm-hmm.
And between leaving the label and now, I did manage like, I think it's around 4,000 placements.
Not bad, is it?
So that's music that it's been used in all sorts. So
Yeah.
it goes from Pimp My Ride to Ugly Betty to CSI to Sky Patrol, EastEnders, Home and Away, Traffic Cops,
Yeah.
Miss Universe elections, Netflix series like Skins, and you know, so
Yeah.
so that's also for me something that I'm proud of. You
Yeah.
know, it's not something like if I mention Castles, yeah, everybody knows, but I'm as much proud of having these thousands of songs being used in TV and film and games that maybe everybody
Yeah.
heard, but didn't know I did.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? But that's also an achievement, and
I like
all
that.
these. I like all these achievements, and it's as much something to be proud of than anything else.
Absolutely,
So,
mate.
and when I did these, so I did that, and then I said, okay, let's try other styles of music.
Mhm.
So that's because I have goals like the dance. What you know, I had trance hits, club hits, I had commercial hits. So I had TV music and film music and all that. So I'm like, okay, what's next?
Yeah.
And then my other goal is to have music in different genres of music.
Yeah.
To do like, for example, I'm now creating K-pop.
Yeah.
Yeah, like Korean boys
Yeah.
bands, and I have J-pop, the Japanese one. So I do these things. I do urban. I do so. Why? Because I want to try to be successful in it,
Yeah.
and you know, if I
It
can
creatively
manage,
fulfilled as well.
yeah, if I can, you know, how cool is it to have hits in one genres or in several genres, and then say, well, that K-pop song that's is a big hit in Japan, that's actually also me, and this urban track that this big rapper is doing, that's also me. You know, that's
Impressive. Yeah.
that's
yeah.
something like that gives you motivation, because I can't do trance, but I've done that, so
Yeah.
now I'm like, okay, let's try other things, and then look back at your life at the end and say, well, I did in these genres, I actually was successful in multiple genres
Yeah.
of music, and I did all these things, and that gives your your career more sense than just having one record.
Yeah, absolutely, mate. I agree with you. That was fantastic, by the way, what you've just explained there. Like, I think success, like you say, success is relative to those who, to like, for instance, if there's people out there that's making movie scores and stuff for TV, and they see your achievements of what you've done, they're like, wow, that's really good. But then to everyone else, it might not mean nothing.
Yeah.
You having a hit within the trance industry, everyone will love the Ian Vandal stuff. But if you go to somebody who likes rock music, they're like,
Yeah, that's
it's just relative, isn't it?
yeah.
So what we're going to do is we're going to move on for part 2. Obviously, you said you'd never seen the podcast before, so this part 2 of the podcast is more interactive for the listeners. So what I'm going to do is got a couple of questions and a couple of activities to go through. Is that all right? We'll do that.
Okay.
So
Is it live or is it from other ones before that?
no,
It's
this
like-
is what people have wrote in. You see.
So you said I'm gonna interview Ian Vandal. Do you have questions for him? And then
No,
that's what
these are varied of what people have said. So I don't name the guest.
Okay.
You see.
okay.
So I do a thing called Flop a Bop. So I'm gonna read you 5 tracks, and you tell me if the flops if you don't like them, or a bop if you like them and you would play them in your sets, for instance, or something like that.
Yeah, but that's also relative.
Yeah, or it's just your opinion.
Because for example, I like all styles of music, everything.
Yeah.
But what people expect me to play is a little bit limited. Like, let's say they do a Remember or like a Clubland anthem evening. Yeah, they expect, there's Ian Vandal. They expect him to play Castles Will I, all these songs,
Yeah.
and they expect me to play all the other ones, the Clubland anthems.
Yeah.
Ish.
Yeah.
So I can't play rock songs when they book me for Clubland night, for
Yeah.
example. And like tonight, I'm playing Clubland.
Yeah.
I'll have to do Clubland songs. You
Yeah.
know, you come. Imagine me playing Shumba Wamba. Everybody would be like, "What the fuck is this?"
Yeah, I know exactly what you mean.
So, I think saying I would put it in my set is relative because
Okay,
I'm
not
mostly-
putting your set.
But I can say I like it or not.
Okay, then
So,
we'll do that then.
If I know that, I hope I will know. all
Oh,
the
you're
songs.
not. I've tried to make them as. So it's just what people have wrote in. They've put strong suggestions forward,
Yeah.
and I've suited it to each guest. So don't worry about it. So this is Flop or Bop with Ian Vandal, and we're going to kick things off with DJ Sammy Heaven. Flop or Bop.
Of course, good. It's a hit.
a
I
bop.
mentioned to you, Bob, because I even want he asked me to do the remix. I was doing the remix, and the label said you can't do the remix. So I'm still angry about it because I love the song, and I said, Sammy, I really want to do the remix. So absolutely.
There's a story behind this one.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was just coincidence. That bad the way that was in there when we were talking about it before. So yeah, that's a bop. Trinity X Forever.
Bob, I think it's underestimated. So,
I agree.
but I have to be honest, I don't like the original version. I think it needs a better version, like
Beefier.
beefier.
Yeah. I know
So
what you mean.
I'm still trying to find like a good, or I'll end up making one myself. So, but that's from a DJ point of view.
Yeah.
So I like the song a
Yeah.
lot, and I think was it Ultra Beat who made the remix?
Trinity X Forever. There's been so many.
And I think also Kenny Hayes. I
Yeah,
think
Kenny
he
Hayes did, yeah.
So there's a couple good remixes.
Yeah.
But like, for my set with the songs I play, I was like, I want one that is like.
Yeah, more
So,
banging.
yeah.
Yeah.
So, but it's good song though.
Yeah. Next one, Stars and Breeze featuring Karen Danzig, Heartbeats.
Yeah, good song, good song. I like stuff that Darren does.
Mm-hmm.
It's like that's one of the artists that I like. Good. You know what I
Yeah,
mean?
yeah.
Like, he has bunch of great songs.
He's always ahead of the curve as well, isn't he? When it comes
Yeah,
to
but it's like, you know, you have it goes from what's the one with the guitar one from Darren.
Come running.
Save me.
Oh.
I've come running.
Yeah.
You know, these ones to switch. You know, all
Yeah.
these things. Plus, I have to be honest. I did he remade my song, so I did Darren Styles, Ollie James, and then Dee Forever.
Yeah.
So I'm a little bit influenced because I actually work with him.
Yeah.
But he's a great artist. It's always nice to see him, and I actually think he has great songs. It's a bit faster, so like the Heartbeat is. I like it more in a hardcore set.
Mm-hmm.
So like when I did the DJ set with Rob, and you do a 165, 170 BPM,
Yeah.
it fits better.
Yeah.
But it's a great song.
Yeah.
So,
Absolutely.
But it's all club anthems, so they're all anthems, you know.
Yeah, no, but
how can I be against it?
No, but
It's all-
personally, it's down to your personal taste, isn't it? There's some people I know. There's a lot of people out there who don't like Heaven, for instance. There is a lot of people out there.
Why? Because it's cheesy.
Maybe because it's cheesy. Yeah.
I never was that happy. They did a how you say it, like a top 10 or something.
Yeah.
You know, people had to vote, and they said which one is the cheesiest and shittiest trance record ever. And it was Castles on 1 and Heaven on 2. I've never been that happy.
Yeah, that's one of your achievements. It's relative.
Yeah, because you're happy you're number one.
Yeah,
you know,
yeah.
because it means something. You know, it gets. But
Yeah.
Because I know it's because it's commercial.
Yeah.
It's even on Castles. Let's be honest. There's a lot of trans people. Yeah, the clubland love it, but
Yeah.
like trans people, they don't like Castles.
Yeah.
They say it's cheesy.
Yeah.
I even know that like Paul van Dyk was like, "Oh, if Ian Vandal Castles in the Sky is trans, I'm not a trans DJ or something." He said something like that. Yeah, which is funny because the next week after he actually licensed one of my songs, but but let's be honest, it was Chesto playing it at that time.
Yeah.
Ferry Corsten playing it, Armin van Buren playing it. So it should. Nobody can tell. You know, he's like Paul van Dyk is still the god of trance music.
Yeah.
He was playing the song, so you can't tell me it's cheesy if them are playing it.
Yeah.
You know, it's just because it was in the charts, and then everybody's like, "Oh, I don't like commercial music.
Yeah.
It's just in the charts." You know, the song didn't change.
Yeah.
So that's why I was happy it was in the she's number one.
Next one, DJ G in the launch.
The problem is I know him, like I know his character. He's not the easiest guy, but the song is okay. It's I wouldn't be unhappy if I was the one who wrote that song.
Yeah. Oh,
So-
absolutely. Yeah.
So he's a bit of a prick, but
No.
that's the only problem.
Yeah, I always find that myself as well. This is something. I always find that. See if it's an absolute arsehole that's done the track, right? I will not play that track. Like if I've had personal experience with somebody, if I met you today, right,
Yeah.
and I thought, what an arse, I would never play Ian Vandal again.
Delete it.
Just, and I'd be like dead petty over it. I'd delete everything off my hard drive.
I do play it. I play the launch, but I play it in a mash. I have like a mashup with Bonkers.
Oh yeah.
So Dizzy Rascal
Yeah.
and Jean the Bonker Lounge or whatever.
Yeah.
So that actually works.
Yeah.
So
And the last one for Flopper Bop is Live in Joy, Dreamer.
yeah.
You think?
The dum, 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 dum,
Yeah.
With who did the remake of it? Because Breeze, was it Breeze? Mark?
I'm not sure who done the remake of it. There's been a couple of like versions of it. I know there's been a couple of like bootlegs that's came
But I
out.
do like the original one.
Yeah.
I like all these like Live and Joy, Black Box. Like the old
It's very
school
soulful,
house.
aren't they? Yeah.
So I like the old Robin S. All these things. So that it was like it's the 90s M1
Yeah, the
organ
era.
era.
Yeah. Yeah. Definitely.
M1 most used
Yeah.
synth in the 90s.
It started making a comeback as well, you know. So this next one's called Throwback Attack. So basically, I'm going to ask you about certain periods of your life, and then you tell me the first song that comes to mind. Is that all right? It doesn't need to be dance music. It can be just the first song that comes to mind. Okay.
Okay.
So this is Throwback Attack with Ian Vandal, and it is, what song do you think of when you think back to primary school?
What age is that primary school?
So it'd be ages 4 to 11.
I think I was in my trying to remember. Because I always had a weird taste of music.
Yeah.
But weirdest taste of music.
Yeah.
Because I know, for example, I had one of my first singles was Salt and Pepper.
Yeah,
Push It.
There's nothing wrong with that. It's a tune.
Salt and Pepper, Push It. But then another one was I was always watching the young ones
Yeah.
on TV, and I had the single with Cliff Richard and the young ones.
Yeah.
Living Doll.
Yeah.
Because I thought it was funny because they were taking the piss out of him.
Yeah.
But it's still, it was a big. So I had like the weirdest taste. I did like Queen.
Yeah.
So, but before it was cool to like Queen.
Yeah.
Because people always like, why do you like Queen? It was ridiculous music.
Yeah.
So I liked all these, like I wasn't afraid to like stuff that wasn't popular to like. So and then at age 11, like a little bit changed because then I got influenced by like Guns N' Roses.
Okay. So that's my next question. What song do you think of when you think of secondary school?
Yeah. So basically it was a struggle for me because I liked like you look for what your flavors is and your taste and all that. So one side you had the whole 90s rock, 80s 90s rock that like the Guns N' Roses, but Pearl Jam,
big hair and distorted guitars.
so you had that. But then at that time I was also watching for example Dr. Dre, but the other Dr. Dre and Flavor, which they did UMTV raps and all that stuff. So I was basically influenced with everything that had to do with music. I know it's weird because I know lots of kids, they have like a genre and they're like, I have to be cool. I have to be like fan of The Cure, and the other one is I like rock music, and it's only rock music existed. Yeah. While I was very open minded about it, things,
Yeah.
so I could go from the old early NWA, Snoop Dogg, and Dr. Dre, and all these. For example, I have all the CDs
Yeah.
of the Wu-Tang Clan.
Yeah.
Yeah, but then I also listened to Rage Against the Machine, and I had all the Guns N' Roses, Appetite for Destruction, all these things. I had the Black Album from Metallica.
Yeah.
So it went from one side to the other. I wasn't limited to anything.
It's like me. If you had to name one from your school times, though, what's the first song that comes to your head?
For my school time. I don't know.
If you had to look back and then you would just see yourself
No,
doing,
I don't
growing
know.
up, what's the tune that's playing
I
in the
don't know.
background?
I only know, for example, when I was a baby, like a little kid, I know it was the your body, my body, everybody, you two body. What's it called again?
I know the tune. I know the
what's it again?
tune.
I can't remember it. But in my youth, it's hard to say. Yeah, it can. I don't know. It could go from Europe, the Final Countdown, to Vanilla Ice, Ice Baby, to.
Right, we'll say them two then for that one.
I don't know. I'm probably gonna regret that I said that, but
What song do you think of when you first go back to the days of you first going out? So like to clubs and stuff like that. What's the early years, so to say? What was the tunes?
yeah. But the problem is, I'm from Belgium.
Yeah. No, but you
So-
can say the Belgium.
So all
tracks,
the,
it's
the
fine.
all the Belgian tracks, nobody would know them here. Like in England, nobody would know them, but then like in Belgium, they would be popular.
Mm-hmm.
Like all the Bonsai releases, or like Poogie Bear,
Mm.
and like Universal Nation, Push.
Yeah.
All these things, but these are not really popular. Like like Lambda, Hold On Tight.
Right.
I think nobody would know it.
I don't know it, but
Cos-
no, but it's
Two
about
Full
you.
Moon and the Trout.
Okay.
Union Jack.
Mm-hmm.
It's like nobody knows it, but it's it's an absolute anthem where I live. And the funny part is, it's still used as DJs. It's the I'm going to the toilet track.
Yeah, the longer.
Yeah, so the song was 12 minutes. So if you really had to go to the toilet,
Yeah.
I'm talking like the underground clubs where you do the 5-6 hours
Yeah.
sets, yeah, and you really had to mid-set, you had like, I really have to go. You put that one on because it's 12 minutes and it's break after break after break. So you're like, okay, now I have 12 minutes. I can rush to the toilet, go to the toilet, come back. That's the next one.
Excellent. And the last one is, what song do you think of when you think right here, right now, today? What if today's world? What's the currently doing it for you? Could be one of your own. It could be something that you heard.
Now I don't know, but for example, what I do know is when my daughter was born,
Yeah.
it was Ruby.
Oh yeah. The Kaiser Chiefs.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So that's something like if I hear Kaiser Chiefs, I'm always have to think about the birth.
Yeah,
of my
that's
daughter.
that's
so that's
really
something
connections to
yeah.
certain memories and stuff. I like that. I like that a lot. And then we've got a couple of questions for some
And
people.
the funny part is, Genie, who does the emceeing for
Yeah.
me, his kid was born on castles in the sky.
Is it really? Every time he hears it, he doesn't even think of you. He thinks of his kids. Yeah. So I've got a question, and this is from. So it's all right, lad. Loving these podcasts, even if I'm a bit behind. Lol. Any plans for coming to the Northeast? Anyways, love the podcast, and hopefully I can catch you at a live event sometime over here in the Northeast. P.S. I've got a question for the guest. Would you rather have nipples for fingers or fingers for nipples? Just a bit of fun. And that's from Liam Jackson. Yeah.
What?
This is the quality of questions we get, mate.
Northeast was the Newcastle guy.
Yeah.
Nipples or fingers, fingers for nipples.
They all have oven in Newcastle, haven't they?
The problem is I really need my fingers.
Yeah.
So anything that looks like fingers.
Yeah.
So, but it's a funny view to. I would have played. So I would play with my tits.
So there's your answer, Liam. Mate. There's your answer. And last question for the day is, hey up Brad, I seen a debate on Facey the other day. What's your opinion on promoters catfishing social media by editing photos of events or using pictures from other people's events in the same venue, or them even going to the extreme and having booked DJs or bands knowing fine well they're not coming? And that's from Anonymous. My opinion on this, you can put yours out there. My opinion on this is I think it's scummy. I think if you're using other people's photos for your events to promote it and you're a promoter, that's not promoting, that's fucking, you're ripping people off, mate. That's it. That's my opinion. Whether that's a strong opinion or not, I don't know, but how pissed off would you be if you put an Ian Vandal event on and you're playing and there's a picture of you DJing to the crowd and somebody else used it because they're using the same venue as you? It's just not on, is it?
Actually, it happens.
It happens a lot, but it's
Yeah.
wrong.
I know, because sometimes I see my picture that I'm pretty sure I took the picture because it was me on stage taking the picture.
Yeah.
So, and then they take it off and then use it. So, but I'm not that bored. Look, I can only look at myself.
Yeah.
So all on the social media, the pictures I post are the ones I took.
Yeah, exactly.
Or it's the photographer who is
Yeah.
with me, and he shares it with me.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I don't use other people's pictures and say,
Yeah.
"Oh, that's me there." No, it's not me. You know, I will use
You would
it.
never dare to use somebody else's photos of for their gig. It's embarrassing.
They're gonna find out anyway.
Yeah, as I think people like that do get found out. You know what I mean? And for the last one for today, this is what I ask everyone, mate. So you're about to get the electric chair because you've lost your lawsuit case for whatever reason, and they've said, you know what, we'll bring him back to death penalty. Kristoff is going. See you later. You've got one more meal, right? You can have a starter, main, dessert, and a drink. What are you having? So we'll go with starter. Are you a big foodie? Do you like food?
Yeah.
Yeah.
But it depends. Like, it depends the food I like or the ones that have emotional value.
Either or.
You know what I mean? Like my grandmother, she was like, you know, like you have the Italian mama
Yeah.
who cooks everything. Well, she was Yaya, so she's Greek.
Yeah.
So what she would do is come to the house, and then the first thing what she would do is kick everybody out of the kitchen, and she would do
The cooking.
the cooking while she wasn't even in her own kitchen.
Yeah.
You know, so, and she would, for example, make like stuffed chicken,
Yeah.
but well, like with feta cheese and pine pits and rice or something,
Right.
stuffed into the chicken.
Nice.
You know, with roast potatoes and stuff like that.
This could be the best one, yeah, I think.
So, and then because one, it's great because
Yeah.
it's like the chicken. It's really, it has lemon in it, so
Yeah.
it's like soft,
Yeah.
but then it's crispy on the outside,
Yeah.
and then you have the potatoes with the oregano and the you know, all these herbs in it.
Yeah.
But on top of that,
It's nostalgic
it's
as well.
nostalgic. So you eat it, and then you remember all the good times with your grandmother and all that.
Yeah.
So that's something I would.
Okay, so that's your main, right?
That's the main.
What are you going for starter? I like that, by the way. I think that could be the best one yet we've had.
Starter. Oh. I don't know. Maybe something weird, like I'm trying to find the word in English. It's sweetbread.
Yeah, like a brioche.
No, sweetbread.
Oh.
It's the galls from
Oh.
from the veal.
All right. I've never had it. I wouldn't know.
No, you
Never
have to
had it.
Google it. So
Yeah, I'm going after
sweetbread.
now.
So basically, it's really because it takes age. Like, it's weird food, and probably a lot of people would say, "Ugh," you
Yeah.
know, because it's an organ.
Hmm.
Yeah. But what they do is you need to clean it, cook it in like milk and all that. So it's a whole process to do it, and it's like what you do is you make sure that the outside is crispy and then the inside is still soft.
Yeah.
It has a really specific taste. It's not for everybody. So, but it's like because I like weird foods.
Yeah.
Like I never order the average things. For example, if I would go to a restaurant, I would not order pasta
Yeah.
with sauce or a steak
Yeah.
because I can make my own steak and I can make my own pasta.
Yeah.
I eat too much pasta already, so I would order something I don't know. So any restaurant I go, I order things I don't know or like rarely eat.
Yeah. I like that,
Yeah.
by the way.
So, and I would like to go to all different kinds. So I would go to a Mexican restaurant and then to like a Lebanese and to an African restaurant. Like everything I see, like I saw Ethiopian restaurant.
Yeah.
Like I've never been to an Ethiopian restaurant.
try it,
so I went
definitely.
and tried it. So it wasn't the biggest success, but I tried it. So I can say,
Yeah.
I tried it. Yeah. So, and that's why the sweetbread, because it's like out of the ordinary.
Yeah.
I try everything from sheep's tail to whatever.
Yeah.
So, and then as dessert, the problem is I'm like lactose intolerant.
Yeah.
But I like ice cream.
Yeah.
But I can't have it. So
Yeah.
it's like a nice pot of Ben and Jerry's or something.
Well,
Or
do you know something? You get in the electric chair, so does it really matter?
yeah, that's why.
Yeah, okay, so a big pot.
So,
What flavour
I'm
Ben
like-
and Jerry's?
I don't know, maybe like with the fudge or something.
Yeah.
like
Okay, that's fine.
chocolate or
Nice.
something like that.
not a bad
or
choice.
like a really special dessert.
Yeah.
I had it one time like Alaskan ice or something.
I've heard of that, yeah.
So it's like the ice cream and there is meringue around it.
Yeah.
And then they put it on fire or something. It's like it has a flame on it. So
Nice.
but you have to do it fast because it's outside is warm and the ice cream is cold.
Yeah.
So you have to do it before it melts. That's
Sounds
a really
amazing.
nice one.
You could have given the best answer yet for this, you know. And to wash it all down, what you having a drink of. It doesn't need to be alcoholic, it can be anything you like.
Yeah, because I don't really drink.
Yeah.
Like, you English people are really good drinkers.
They drink a lot, yeah.
Yeah, it's ridiculous. I'm like, sometimes I'm baffled because of the amount of drinks somebody can do. So, I don't drink wine. I don't drink beer.
Yeah.
I do sometimes do like a spirit or a mixer.
Yeah.
You know, like
Vodka or tequila or
yeah,
something
like
that.
you know, I can drink it. That like or daiquiri, how you say it?
Daiquiri, yeah.
Yeah, or like baby Guinness or tequila rose or something. But it's very moderate.
Yeah.
My favorite drink is just like iced tea,
Iced tea.
but then no bubbles.
Okay.
But like San Benedetto or something like the Italian. There's like Italian brand
Yeah.
that make it. So you can't even. I go to the store all the time to try to find iced teas, and your aisle is like there's only 2 or 3.
Yeah,
and
2
that's
iced
it.
teas, yeah,
There's
I
2
know.
iced teas. If you go to places like in Italy or where I live in Belgium, the whole aisle is
Is
full of
iced
iced
teas,
teas.
yeah.
You could have like 50 different ones. So I'm always frustrated when I want to get an iced tea. So,
Yeah.
but yeah, San Benedetto iced tea lemon. Then it's good. I'm happy. It's good.
Yeah.
Don't need to be any alcohol.
Excellent, mate. So we're just going to tie today up if that's all right. Just want to say thank you for coming on. It's
problem.
been an absolute pleasure, and we've had a really good laugh, and
Okay.
it's been good to get to know you, mate. Where can people find you? Where's it? Where? So you've got your gigs, and then you've got your Instagram page and stuff online, and Spotify, or
Yeah, basically, so I'm not a big fan of social media. So I told myself I'm just gonna use one and try to use it as much as possible.
Yeah.
So as an artist, so I do most of it on the Instagram.
yeah,
Where I post it, and that's IVD DJ. So
Yeah.
IVD_DJ.
Yeah.
And that's. Yeah. So they took the Vandal one and then I can't use it.
Yeah.
So that's why I do IVD_DJ.
Yeah.
And then
You've got it then, isn't it?
Yeah. Then they can see all the pictures, the real ones, not the fake ones.
The real photos.
So, and then I hope to see people on the road. So I do lots of the clubland ones. I do the 90s events and stuff. So I'm from Scotland to Bognor Regis. I do all the gigs. So anybody in England,
there's always a chance to see you
there's always
somewhere.
a chance to see me.
I just want to say, if you've made it this far in the podcast, thank you very much for watching. You can catch all these podcasts at It's Time to Refresh on all social medias, Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, etc. If you've enjoyed it, then please share it with your mates, because that's how we grow our platform. And what an episode this has been, hasn't it? Let me know your thoughts of the episode in the comments below. I just want to say thank you for tuning in. And if you've enjoyed it that much, you can sign up at our Patreon at patreon.com/It's Time to Refresh. And it's from as little as £3 a month, just to support the cause and the production of this podcast. Just want to say thank you, and I'll see you later. Nice one.